Welcome back to another episode of the Boot Up or Shut Up podcast. I'm your man, Anthony Smith, and look, it's game week. Football is finally back, and them boys from the boot about to go out east to South Carolina and lay some real hurt on them fake Tigers. I'm sure you already heard they tried to pull some BS by snitching to the NCAA about our transfer safety, AJ Haulcy, but look, that's real cute. But let's be real, man. Look, if you got to call the teaching to try to get us punished, try to get a little bit of advantage, then this ain't the podcast for you because you ain't ready to boot up. So look, we're going to drop this theme music and then let's go, baby. We're going to show y'all who the real Tigers is when we get in them trenches.
See y'all and let the wild beast stand. Ain't nowhere to hide, baby. This is our season.
All right, I'm just playing. I don't have any theme music. If anybody would like to create my theme music, I appreciate it. Yeah, one day we're gonna slide it in there and we'll come back and edit it a long time from now when we get big time, get theme music. But look, man, real talk, appreciate y'all. I'm excited, man. Football is back, and what better way to kick it off than a full day of college football? You had a little finger food on Thursday night. You had some week 0 last week. Nobody cared. You had Nebraska and Cincinnati last night. I know everybody gonna say I'm hating. I stayed in Nebraska for 12 years. 1997 was a long time ago. Huskers. Like, hey, you got Matt Rule. Things are happening, right? I get it. You got a little, T-Moo, Pat Mahomes out there. Last night he got to play in this little stadium, feeling like he's somebody. Came out with a field goal victory. Good job, guys. But nah, for real, man. Look, let's do this. Let's get into it. It's finally here. We've been talking about this for like 8 months, thinking about it, itching, working the transfer portal, making sure that, Brian Kelly has no more excuses. Year 4, and we kicking it off. LSU Clemson, the main event Saturday night. You got Ohio State and Texas in the morning. That's the appetizer. You get a little everybody else sprinkling there, get a little buffet action if you want. Then we come with that Wagyu steak and potatoes. Battle the Tigers that night, man. Look, I'm not gonna bore you to death. There's 5 million videos out there talking about that. This is the Boot Up or Shut Up podcast, and when we just come at it from a fan perspective and talk about what's really happening as if you were sitting at the barbershop, kicking on the couch with your family, like we're going to do tomorrow and around it's game time. So look, Clemson just ain't another opening opponent. That's the crazy thing. Everybody's talking about, LSU hasn't won a game in so many years. They could have won all 4 of them 3 games under Brian Kelly. Some of them games is Ed O, right? But this is probably the worst opening one they had. This is the number 4 team in the nation. Clemson ain't no pushover. We can make all jokes we want about the Tigers in Death Valley. They are stacked. Veteran quarterback. Young receiving core that's just crazy talented. D-line that got 2 first-round picks on it. And the secondary that the starters is all right, but if you get somebody hurt or somebody that come out, it's going to be a problem. So look, there's a lot of key matchups in this game. It'd be pointless to just dive into the same ones. My key matchups is, like I said on the last episode, first off, it's basically the trenches. Start with the trenches. Football, I don't care how much we want to air raid it and run and shoot and run and gun and RP. The trenches. LSU has literally an entire new offensive line starting, and it's got to be on the road. And they have never played together. Even if you put DJ Chester back out there, he going to a new position, and he fighting for his life apparently. Against the D-line that is Clemson, it's going to be a tough ass. We know what we got in us. We know what we got in the wide receivers. If you can just simply hold up enough to give them time, and you have to be able to run the ball. We ain't run the ball in 2 years. You have the horses in the backfield. Caden Durham and Jackson, he'll sprinkle in a little Harlan Berry with some pass routes, but Jackson and Durham have to hit it, man. Like, they're going to sprinkle in. I think you're going to see a lot of, if you get close to the goal line, short yardage, they're going to sprinkle in Jawan Johnson, the number 8 former quarterback out of Lafayette, the guy who has the most touchdowns, I think most yards also in Louisiana sports history. So he knows to do with the football in his hands. And you have 9 deep at wide receiver, 4 deep at tight end. You don't have no excuses. But for that offense and all the weapons to go, you got to win in the trenches. And like I said, they have an NFL defensive line. So you're not going to be dominant, but you need to hold up enough to give Nuss time and not have him pressured or seeing ghosts every time he drops back. So that's the first key. The second key, we talk about trenches. I'll flip it over to the other side. Can LSU get in the trenches and cause some problems? They have a steady back, nothing major, but LSU had a leaky defense where people was running left and right. Klubnik can move. He's a quarterback that can improvise and go use his legs. So LSU has Perk back, Whit Weeks back, a veteran Wes Weeks out there in linebacking core, right? Veteran safeties for a half, since these snitching ass Clemson people want to get AJ Haulcy kicked out for a fight that happened last year. And again, it's not even, I mean, yeah, he did it. He should get suspended. The thing is, like, that's just real. I kind of honor it. It's petty. It's BS. It worked. It's my team against my team, so I'm a little mad about it. But yeah, that's real. What did Diddy used to say? I guess I shouldn't quote him right now because that's the. I'm gonna just delete that out. Don't even worry about it. It's just real terrible. Like why? It's like, man, the D line has to get pressure. Gotta control their gaps. Gotta get pressure so that linebackers can do their thing. We have veterans out there in the defensive backfield, but again, now you don't have Haulcy starting. Who's gonna start? Jordan Gilbert has all the experience in the world playing at A&M and LSU the past 2 years, so he's been in big games, big environments. He's a little suspect last year, but he was also hurt. Supposed to be healthy. You got a young group back there outside of those three. Cooley, we'll start. Halsey coming in the second half, hopefully bring some juice off the bench, but it's going to be tough against them wide receivers, man. Crazy talent on both sides. We'll see how it goes. And I think that I hate to be cliche, and I haven't heard anybody talk about it, to be honest with you. I think my third key is special teams. We have like 3 minimum legit returners. You got Xavier Thomas, you got Barry and Brown, and you can stick Teron Francis back there. I mean, you got some speed. Destin Hill can go back there. I mean, you got Harlan Berry can go. I mean, that's 4. I say 3, and that's 4 right there. But really, besides the return game and the juice that it could bring, Damian Ramos is in his 4th year. He's been here as long as is Kelly. He's a dependable field goal kicker. Like, if he misses, I'll be surprised. Secret weapon, though, is Burrell. You see the booming kickoffs that go out the back of the end zone. Word is that throughout training camp, and fall camp, college, you can't say that, right? Summer and fall camp, the man was booting 60-plus yard field goals. It's just about being consistent. It's his job next year, but if it comes in tight, I wonder if Kelly would give him a chance. If Ramos' range is about 50, 55, if you get stuck in a situation and you need it, 4th and short, do you go for it or you give Burrell a chance? We'll see how it goes. But oh no, man, I ain't gonna beat a dead horse. I'm hyped up. It's a good game. Here's the killer. Here's the closer. Clemson needs this game more than LSU. With the trash schedule and teams that are the ACC, Clemson needs this win against a quality top 10 opponent. Now, yes, we want to win. LSU needs to win as well. But Clemson needs it more when you think about the playoffs and schedule. But LSU needs it, if we're being real. LSU needs it just from a confidence standpoint. Like, just a confidence standpoint. If LSU can go on the road in that environment against a top 5 team with all that talent returning, they're just as talented. So the game could go either way. But you go in there with that, who on your schedule scares you? Who on your schedule scares you? Nobody. You come back after that, you got a couple, I'm not going to say layups. You got a game week 2 back at home opener, where you can get some kinks worked out, get the offensive line, the right 5 out there. In week 3, we got Florida. Florida ain't better than you. Lagway is cool. Is he healthy? We don't know. He ain't really out here playing. You should win that game at home. Plus, you got a revenge from last year. Then you bring up the fact that after that, the slate gets a little tougher, but you got a few more layups after that. Then by the time you get to the meat of it, your South Carolinas, your A&Ms. South Carolina comes to LSU. Big quarterback, hype and talk. Good defense. They lost a lot on defense, but that's games at LSU. A&M, Texas 8-4 has to come to LSU. We definitely got it on our mind from last year. You got 2 tough road games, and those may be your hiccups, which is why everybody's saying LSU has to win this game because they have no leg to stand on after that. Ole Miss you could beat. New quarterback who you beat last year when he was at Oklahoma and Jackson Arnold. It's a tough road, but it ain't a crazy road. Alabama on the road. They break in a new quarterback, and we don't know what Kellen DeBoer is. He ain't Nick Saban. So that don't mean you can't win that game, right? So it's tough. It's a tough slate. It's the SEC. But LSU just needs to win the game to get that monkey off their back. That's it. They get that monkey off their back, and then you can't tell them nothing because they've been focused on this game for the past 6 months. They got Clemson stickers and 1-0 all around. Brian Kelly talks about it in his press conferences. They ain't running from this game. They ready to boot up or shut up. And so are we after this commercial break. I lie. I also ain't got no sponsors yet because I just started. So if you want to sponsor the Boot Up or Shut Up podcast, this is your opportunity. Thank you. Reach out for more feedback from my management. All right, we're going to roll in now to talking about the Saints. Last episode, we talked about the cuts. We got the majority of them right. There were some cuts that were surprising. They cut Jay Kaner, only to bring him back on the practice squad. Not a surprise. They cut Clyde, man, but that was one of those, he's a vested veteran, so you could cut him and kind of say, hey, man, stay around. So I'm not too surprised he came back on the practice squad. The biggest surprises that came to me that were cut and didn't make it back to the practice squad on the team period was 7th-round draft pick for Dill Diggs because he outshined Foskey. Not a surprise. We'll get more on that in a minute. Not a surprise that he got cut. But I was surprised they cut Trayton Welch. But he came back on the practice squad. And I guess they really just see something in this big tight end that we got from UCLA and they want to keep him around. So it's always a shuffle and numbers game, man. It's just I wanted it to happen. I was very surprised, though, that they cut DeMarco Jackson and Nephi Sewell. Nephi Sewell made it back on the practice squad, and they kept Stallbird and Ford on the main roster. Like, I'm excited about that. DeMario is a dog. Well, we got Stutzman. I like Ford. Stallbird is out there making plays, man. So the linebacking core should be great, especially with this Brandon Staley offense. So biggest shout out to my young Noop out there, man. Home chapter. His dad was one of the ones who brought me in when I came in. Number 37 in your program, Dallas Beanham. Shout out to you, Noop, for making the practice squad, coming out of North Dakota State, from Omaha, Nebraska. Yo, real proud of you, brother. I can't wait to see the family down there for tailgating. I know it's gonna be crazy. So shout out to Dallas Beanham, man. Keep the name in the back of your mind. It's gonna come sooner than later, bro. So keep grinding, and I'm proud of you. And you got to support over here from the Boot Up or Shut Up podcast. We're gonna be your biggest supporters. And so after the cuts, Kellen Moore really just made some moves that was kind of. Mickey is pissing me off. Let's just start there. Mickey is just these draft picks. I get it. We needed offensive line help. And the young one on IR. You lost Penning is still down. You lost Will Clapp. I keep thinking people on Twitter use his picture every time they want to be nasty. Will Clapp is done, right? So you trade with the Cowboys for somebody none of us ain't ever heard of. That a few people on the coaching staff know, okay, cool. Okay, he probably wasn't going to be cut. I get it. He better be the number 6 solid backup for the next 3 years and spot start because you're giving up draft assets. I don't mind getting an O lineman, but you're going to tell me there's nobody you could have got off of waivers? Nobody? And here's the other kicker. Like, 2 sneaky waiver wire pickups I love is Trust. They picked up, I guess he was on Denver's roster. Love Sean Payton's leftovers, don't we? Just more on that in a minute too, because look. So, man, look, Trust, I wanted the Saints, all my mock drafts, I kept finding ways to sneak him in like the 6th, 7th round. I think he's good out of Georgia. Played tackle. They had him at guard in Denver, so he's versatile. I just think he just needs to be groomed, and he'll be great. I love that pickup. Then they went and grabbed Trey Palmer off the waiver wire. LSU fans, y'all are real familiar with Trey Palmer. Came to LSU, couldn't crack the deep wide receiver room, ended up transferring to Nebraska, went out there and showed out, got himself on the Buccaneers the past few years, and every time he played the Saints, disrespected him. Straight speed. And then that goes into the next phase of what this roster is looking like. The guy from the Cowboys they just went and got, young. Trey Palmer still young. Both quarterbacks young. Running back room, Neal young. Clyde is probably the oldest one in the room. AK came out at 17, Clyde came out at 20, so they're 2 oldest. But Kendra Miller young. Wide receiver room really got Rashid. Ele is an older person, but 2nd year in the league. Lave, Tipton. Brandon Cook's the oldest person in the room. So the team got young in a hurry. I think they average about 26, almost 27 years old now across the entire roster. So that's one of the biggest takeaways from this whole offseason, whether it was drafting to going through the first wave of cuts and free agency wire pickups, is that I'm sure it wasn't just by coincidence. They got young in a hurry. What you have to do when you hitting the reset and you got to start over, you need cheap contracts and hopefully some of these people paying out so they can be your building blocks. And we got this year to find out who's going to stick around for next year, who really going to boot up. And so we go back to the wide receiver room. Now you have Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, Brandon Cooks, Mason Tipton, Vele you traded for, who's the big body receiver, and Trey Palmer. They kept Cedric Wilson, and who else they kept? Kevin Austin Jr. on the practice squad. I think Cedric Wilson will be up a lot. Again, he just knows Kellen Moore's offense, and he's a good blocker. I think it was just a numbers game where he had to go. But if you just listen to everybody I just said, that whole room is a track team. My man Palmer, sub 4.4. Rashid Shaheed, 4.3 at a minimum. He might get in the 4.2s. Olave Swift, he ain't slow. And Brandon Cooks is the oldest, but Brandon Cooks can still get up and get out there. So it wasn't just happenstance. I don't know what Kellen Moore is building. I'm excited to see it. Shout out to my man Ross Jackson of Locked On Saints. Check it out if you haven't. I was watching his podcast episode today, and he actually pointed that out. It was a thought of mine, but he does so much great research and really educates you as a fan. So if you're a fan, be an everyday listener. I'm gonna shout out you out, Ross. Be an everyday listener to Ross Jackson on the Locked On Saints podcast. You can catch Ross at like 10 different places, but I watch it every day. And he talked about the wide receiver room just being a track team and how the slowest person is Vele, and he's a 4.4 guy. Excited. I don't know what Kellen is doing. Running a bunch of slants, just trying to just run by everybody until the O-line get together. Quick passes to help the running game. We're going to see. But it's exciting. And what that is Kellen Moore is showing you with the addition of Trey Palmer that he really is molding his team in his own. There was a lot of talk when he got hired, would he just be somebody who Mickey has under his thumb, and Mickey going to hire somebody that's a Dennis Allen type of vibe where he's just going to fall in line. And Kellen Moore just ain't a rah-rah guy, but that don't mean he ain't going to do what he wants to do. Cutting Foskey was big, and not from the standpoint of cutting him, but he's a second-round pick who was in his third year. You still got 2 years of his contract yet, and I just talked about you got to get cheaper. And being able to say, you know what, hey, he just ain't cutting it, man. We gave him a chance. He ain't show it on film. We got other people, right? He got to go. And making that call, making the call to start Rattler. I promise you, Mickey is up there like, look, I used the second round pick on this dude you told me to get, and you're not even going to start him? No, we got to start him. So the more and more Mickey does stuff and puts his hands on things, the more and more you realize Sean Payton was the best GM the Saints ever had. Because before Sean got here, Mickey used to do some dumb stuff. He had Randy Mueller for all the old head Saints. And then Mickey was just really not doing a whole bunch of good stuff. And then Sean came, made it look effortless. They worked good together. And now this draft looks good. But again, how much did Kellen Moore have to do with that versus Mickey? I don't know. I'm ready for Mickey to he ain't about to get fired. Gale, I don't know if he got some pictures or he just Tom Benson in the wheel or he got dirt on Benson that's going to ruin everything. He ain't getting fired. But can we just go back to when he was GM of the Pelicans and the Saints and he was just too involved over there where he wasn't paying attention over here? I love Joe Dumars, so don't let him be the GM, but I don't know, give him some job to go sit in the other side of the building. He gotta go, dog. I used to try to stand up for Mickey, but I'm over it. I get somebody else in here. At this point, we starting everything else new. Get Mickey up out of here too, because he's not boot up or shut up material. He folds quickly, and he always his face is just starting to get to me like Jerry Jones' face. You just see Jerry, some BS about to happen, and it's just ridiculous, man. And I don't trust him. I don't like him. But enough about that rant, man. Kellen Moore is putting his stamp on his team. You can see it's his by the moves that's being made, by the way he's molding this wide receiver room. I don't know what it's going to be, but he's doing his thing. We'll see if it works out, but he's doing his thing. So we're going to break for our next segment after this fake commercial break. Welcome back to the Boot Up or Shut Up podcast. And you just heard me compare the one and only Mickey Loomis to the Don that is Jerry Jones. I can't get up out of here without, how you trade Micah, dummy? He probably riding his wave of the Netflix special, America's Team, with America's team, the gambling, his Cowboys. My wife's a Cowboy fan, whatever. But my dad was a Cowboys fan growing up. I cheered for him a little bit during the 90s. Emmitt Smith, last name Smith, we out here. So I did follow them and track them. So the documentary, man, is great. It's real dope. It's crazy to even see how Jerry got a hold of the Cowboys. Basically hustling, right? Writing checks that he literally couldn't cash. But I ain't going to spoil it, man. Just go watch it if you haven't. I don't care who you're a fan of. It's a really good documentary. But in there, man, he did for y'all who are young don't know, but he traded Herschel Walker, and he got a bunch of draft picks, and that helped him to start getting Dallas on the right path to what they became in the late 90s. I guess that's what he's thinking with this one. And look, this is the Saints, LSU, ULL, Pelicans, and this is a Louisiana-driven podcast. But our neighbors next door, they're going through it. And I live in Dallas, man. So I hear it. I'm watching the tears roll. It is amazing. I love it. It warms my heart up. But man, they're losing bad. Like, the city had two, quote unquote, generational talents. They were definitely superstars. They got Luka up out of here for nothing. And they got Micah up out of here for next to nothing. I mean, you got some stuff back, but we'll see what it is. But man, Jerry just be out here. So it's like, I don't understand. Micah Parsons got traded. And I can't say I blame him. I mean, Jerry up there in the podcast. Jerry's up there in the press conference calling man Michael, like, just blatant disrespect. Make enough stories and put it out there to try to make him look bad so he can negotiate. Like, Jerry wilding. And so it's like Dallas fans just waking up to the same old Cowboys drama, right? And it's like, I don't know. He happy. Green Bay Super Bowl contender. He got paid. I heard the man told his mama she can retire, don't go nowhere else. So shout out to Micah. But man, I'm enjoying the drama that is happening in they call Big D, because Jerry stamped his big one, dropped his nuts. Jerry's talking about boot up or shut up for real. It's my team. Don't come over here telling me what I'm gonna pay you, laying on the table saying your back hurt. All right, we'll get you up out of here, right? So it is what it is, man. But it's a great weekend upon us. College football is back. Next weekend, NFL kicks off. Thursday, we get the kickoff game, Eagles and Cowboys. It's going to be amazing, right? Just a shout out to you for listening. Highly appreciate you. Thank you for all the support again. We're going to recap, hopefully, a joyous win from LSU coming up, and then we'll preview the Saints versus the Cardinals on the next episode. So please join us. If you have not done so, man, like and subscribe right here on YouTube. Follow us on X at BootUpPod. Follow me on X and IG at Just2Kosher, JUST2R. This has been another episode of the Boot Up or Shut Up podcast. You've been great. Appreciate you. See you next time. Peace.
See y'all and let the wild beast stand. Ain't nowhere to hide, baby. This is our season. We them LSU Tigers and we came to win. Me and my brothers gonna ride to the very end. Damn, it's going down up in Tigerland. Wizard gang doing this one for the Tiger fans. Purple yellow color team, we on fire, man. Come around here, you might end up in a frying pan. You can't stop us, number one in the league. We a special kind of breed, Louisiana beast. We done came a long way, ain't got no time for defeat. So if you know what's good for you, then you better retreat. We coming live from the boots outside of the zoo. It's game time.